Good morning. Today we are working on a Protea 25-inch 12-blade cylinder or reel mower. This particular one comes out of South Africa. It is coming for a full service. The first thing we have noticed on here is there is a couple of dents and nicks in the blade, and I shall rotate until we find them. And here comes one now. As you can see, just along here, there is a slight dent. There is another one corresponding on the same reel, is around about there. There's a little nick in the blade. When we drop these down, when we drop this reel out, we will also check the bearings. We know this side down in here, the bearing has gone. It's moving fractionally, so it's making the machine vibrate and does not cut evenly. Another thing that we do, because we put these onto a lathe, we have to clean. See how you have all this grass that is built up on here? When the stone is rotating at that speed, it runs the risk of actually catching fire. So this is the reason we brush these blades down, clean them up, we sandblast them, then we prime them, and then we paint them. Painting is to help slow down the rusting process. The bed knife will also, with those corresponding dents, will be damaged as well. Hence the reason why we strip them down and sharpen them on two separate lathes. This machine has been sharpened before, but the whole machine was put onto a lathe and they sharpened the reel only. They did not touch the bed knife. When they do it this way, you're only sharpening half of the pair of scissors. It's not giving you that full metal cut. Another thing we have noticed on this too is the vibration coming through the machine. Up to here, there's a plate that sits behind here. You may not see it, but there's a plate here that has come away from where it's vibrating. That's where it was tack welded to here. That has come away. We will then also take that off and clean it up and weld it back into position. The machine overall is in very good condition. The customer has actually looked after this machine quite well. One thing we can give you as a tip for keeping the blades clean and free of this is after every use, let the machine cool down, hit the blades with a gurney, clean it up, dry it out the best you can, and then just have a little container of vegetable oil and a rag. Once the blades are dry, wipe the blades down the best you can with just a little bit of oil. This does two things. It also helps to stop the actual edge of the blade from rusting as quickly. And also, when you go to mow again, it helps to stop the grass from sticking to the blades, and it can be washed down a lot easier. This also makes our process of sharpening and cleaning for preparation for sharpening, makes our life easier, because this takes a lot of effort to get this sort of stuff off. Before we can sandblast these, we actually have to clean a lot of this off. Okay, as per a previous video, this is a Protea out of South Africa, 25-inch. We have stripped it down, and in the process of doing this, we have found a couple of issues. One of the issues is to do with the bearing housing, where the nut has a washer behind it on the outside of the frame. The nut is actually being worn down on the chain. The chain is actually hitting this and it makes it extremely hard. That is the problem. You do not need a washer behind the rear one. We've also discovered a lot of hair and fibre wrapped around the shaft and is clogging up the bearings. We will totally strip these individual componentries down, clean them up. Another issue we have found is this was previously sharpened by the whole machine itself being lifted onto a lathe and the reel being sharpened only. They did not do the bed knife, so the bed knife has been worn out through the middle. It also has a dent in the middle. So we have to straighten this, or possibly have to replace this blade because it's been worn down. We will then put it all back together and we will run and test and do our paper cut as we usually do. As per previous videos, we have put the Protea 25-inch out of South Africa back together again. We have sharpened the reel, we have sharpened the bed knife, we have got rid of the dents and the little chips. In the process of doing this, we also found an issue with the clutch. It was slightly out of alignment and making a horrible knocking noise. We have since realigned the clutch and we are about to do a paper test. Please, people, do not attempt this at home. Again, this is highly dangerous. Do not attempt this at home.